into the battlefield. Cloud and Dexter watching from up above. NIP Flash looking to extend this series against Falcon Esports, who is white hot. Bringing back that Fredrin, picking up a thing or two from their fallen enemies in BTK.
You know, the scary thing for me is even though the Joy is a late game here that scales up, surprisingly, Joy has been performing very well in M6, getting a lot of early kills. And with the current composition of NIP Flash, specifically Diablo, on the side of the Khalid, you can expect them to be, compared to game number 1, be more aggressive, but at the same time, more calculated and trying to delay the jungling speed of Dax.
And that's the beauty of NIP Flash's draft here. They're super agile, super mobile. I'm expecting Falcon Esports has to pick very specifically where they put their big ticket ults. I'm looking at the implosion. I'm looking at the diversion. Oh, Kid X here, down to a fifth of his health. That's a TKO sent home early.
And you can expect NIP Flash to just continue the aggression, try to gain mid control for, at the very least, for the first 2 turtles, not letting Falcon Esports to go for their usual rotation, force them to be reactive and not dictate the tempo that, as we've seen compared to game number 1.
You see here the Emperor living rent-free in Falcon Esports' jungle, giving Dax one hell of an early game. A minute and a half elapsed. Benny versus Vanix. How do you reckon this gold lane matchup is going to go? You think it's going to be as quiet as game 1? Like, nobody touched them for like the first 5 or 6 minutes.
I think it's going to go the same way. They're going to all focus on the XP lane matchup, especially when it comes to the very first turtle. But we'll see, because again, as much as possible, Falcon Esports, they want to activate Benny as early as possible, considering that Dax isn't is a utility jungler. So in terms of damage, they're going to bank on PX7 and Benny to dish out the damage early on.
Let's see. First turtle already spawned, lower quarter of the map. Check this bush. I think PX7 and Royal Milk no. And the Emperor will remain calm. They catch Diablo.
Okay, Diablo flickers out to safety. And this forced Falcon Esports to have a better control over this Turtle Pit. Diablo, though, on the other hand, just used the quick sand guard. Here comes Royal Milk. With a dispersion rotation, Kid X onto the backline with the ultimate connecting onto the members of NIP Flash, but the first man down will be Dax. Kid X, on the other hand, getting caught up by 3. Here comes Hades onto the backline, onto PX7, forcing him to walk away. Another kill by NIP Flash. Royal Milk caught in the midst of everything. Will be able to escape, though, but NIP Flash executed that to perfection.
Tis but a flaccid collapse. Falcon Esports, not quite there yet. Curteasy taking out Royal Milk in the wake of that turtle take. NIP Flash have awoken.
And that's basically Curteasy. We all know NIP Flash in terms of their playstyle, even down to their draft. They're a really unorthodox team. We've seen a Martis mid, a lot of mid lanes that Curteasy can play, but here comes the save from Kid X though. Benny, one more hit. Kid X and PX7 working to try and save Benny away from harm's way, and NIP Flash will disengage.
So far, Falcon Esports, all they could do really is put up a wall between their cores and NIP Flash with 1,000 ahead, given that they're waiting for Benny, they're waiting for PX7, even Royal Milk. I'll tell you now, I think it's a very Royal Milk lineup. Oh, Vanix!
They're just waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike onto Vanix. That's a 3-man rotation from the Triple X mid trio of Falcon Esports. That was a kill they were willing to take any given day.
If they weren't going to play defensive, those pickoffs are going to cost them. But if they get it on Vanix over and over again, on Kurt, on Hades, then maybe we got something. Maybe the Burmese are cooking. Falcon Esports down 1,000 gold here. 4 minutes in the upper quarter is where the turtle will spawn next. 45 seconds. They aren't checking as much as JPL is. So that means Hades is getting free farm.
Yeah. And the thing is, towards the late game, if ever we reach that part, it might be alarming for NIP Flash. Even if they have the Moskov that has good macro presence, you can't just split push at any given moment, knowing that PX7 in Kid Hex has this Louis integral combination that just can lock you down wherever you try to do the split push.
It's a matter of time. It's not when, it's not how, it's if they can catch NIP Flash. The double Purify actually makes quite the difference. Curteasy and Vanix not going to be as easy to catch. Now, they're prepping up for that turtle take. This Eternal duel down bottom. Royal Milk versus Diablo. This is a very clear decision for both XP laners. Oh wait, there's a kick by the Emperor.
There's an angle coming in from JPL for the kick onto Dax. Energy Eruption is there, but Benny just giving out the damage and gonna bring down JPL. All of a sudden, Falcon Esports in full control of this turtle pit.
That's why Falcon Esports was delaying the whole thing, because they were waiting to collapse on the one Diablo very low.
He has to recall there as Dax gets the turtle kid. X on the other hand, Implosion play. They're going for more. They want all the smoke, extending their lead, and Falcon Esports breaks the tempo of NIP Flash, now invading the jungle.
That was so hot. A kill and a turtle apiece.
Oh. Okay, as they steal away the purple buff, they might get a sandwich play. But here comes JPL just trying to delay the push that Falcon Esports can bring. Vanix clearing out the minions. Benny, here comes BX7 as well. Will they be able to save it? Dax, though, on the other hand, Energy Eruption onto JPL. Will they commit? Okay, they're not going to commit.
Not much of a kick from JPL. That's the beauty of these Fredrin lineups. And now suddenly it's Falcon Esports on the offense. They're the one asserting their dominance. They're the one moving in, proactively pushing forth their tempo. They're up 1,000 now. It looks like this turtle coming up in about a minute should be theirs too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because of the presence of the Louis diversion, it gives NIP Flash some sort of urgency to try and check all the brushes. You know, make sure that there's no open, there's no angle for Falcon Esports to make a crazy play.
And I reckon it's those angles that they're forcing on JPL that's getting them off time. Because, what, back to back now. Whoa, Curtizi!
Okay.
All day low!
Fortunately, JPL was able to block the Death Sonata. Here comes Diablo to try and force Falcon Esports to disengage. That was one Death Sonata away from a Curtizi takedown. And here comes the diversion. They might be able to sandwich Hades, though. On the other hand, Falcon Esports is taking their time and trying to look for the perfect angle.
NIP Flash's bruisers, the enforcers, putting up a perimeter. You shall not touch Hades. Curtizi back to the front lines after that recall. A TKO by Falcon. Not enough time they bought, though. And this is tough, because look, Vanix is pushing, and NIP Flash have initiative. They can say, we'll fight, or we'll turtle, and it looks like they can get away with both.
Oh, but Diablo, will he manage to get away up against two Raging Sandstorm? But against two, that's not going to be enough. And this is the problem that NIP Flash is facing. Because of the presence of the diversion, they're forced to be reactive. They're forced to try and have the numbers game, have the number advantage, to force Falcon Esports to think about trying to go for the pickoffs.
And they forced their decision. They said, hey, Vanix, all you got to do now is push. And now Vanix, trying to run away. He's sandwiched.
Oh, sandwich! And get caught up by the Rhapsody of Benny. And that's the thing we were pertaining to early game. Eventually, they're gonna cast a diversion to try and look for Vanix, because we all know that this Moscow will just go for the turret pushes, go for the turret takedowns until he scales up. And Falcon Esports, they have some sort of urgency to try and stop that as much as possible.
And they made the decision for the Singaporean champions. They knew that they could only split push. They knew that Vanix wasn't going anywhere without an SOD cross map. No one was down bottom. They've already passed mid. You're seeing here, folks, a soft counter to the Moscow, because the diversion can hide you. The diversion can put you in places where the SOD cannot hit you, giving the Moscow one of its main strengths, coast-to-coast map control. Looking at the items right now, Benny is what, 2,000 ahead of Vanix.
2.1k gold lead. This is also considering the fact that Vanix just picked up his DHS, also has a Purify, but despite the presence of the Purify, Falcon Esports was able to take him down 2 times in the last 7 minutes. So that's how Falcon Esports is when it comes to trying to go for those pickups. They're decisive, and at the same time, it's always the proper timing.
It's a concealed play by JPL, looking for something. Checking that bush. Spots 3 from Falcon Esports. And look at Royal Milk. This is Royal Milk's signature CC. So far, calling the shots. It's as if the diversion wasn't enough to push back and cordon off NIP Flash from their formation. Even the jungle isn't safe.
Yeah, that's why the yo-yo blitz of Royal Milk has been crucial, because we've seen a lot of times that Diablo, you would want him, of course, to get control of the brushes for the unexpected Raging Sandstorm. But most of the time, you've seen him just use the quick sand guard because of the damage that Royal Milk has been expending onto Diablo.
And it's a very similar story to game number 1. 9.5 minutes in, Falcon Esports have figured out a way to make Diablo play to their tune, to dance to their song. And it looks like the Burmese are ready to tango. Lord spawned upper quarter, 9.5 minutes in. Check the bush here. Hades holding that tri-brush. Kid X spotted by Kurt. And we get a reset.
Okay, we're gonna have a diversion. Royal Mig descending. Royal Mig onto the back line to work on Cortese. Forcing the raging stats on Cortese will fall down. That's one member down for Falcon Esports. Vanix on the other hand working on the bottom lane. They're trying to go for a trade. And now Falcon Esports full control of the Lord Pit. They might be able to get the Lord away from NIP Flash.
Gets the SOD. No one home. JPL hunted down by Royal Milk, standing there, asserting dominance. And NIP Flash just fold. Falcon Esports here, able to play the map. NIP Flash, a lot of their major wins here, Ingan, are just cross-map trades, mainly off of Vanix. And I think the fact that he's keeping himself safe, he understands, he acknowledges the fact that it's urgent, that he gets some level of farm, and that the map doesn't completely go sideways.
Okay. Hades will have to recall because he's going to be needed for the base defense for the first Lord that Falcon Esports has. But with a 4.7k gold lead, they might be able to take down an inhibitor turret. They're doing their best to try and kite away the Lord. Just looking at the damage coming from the death zone now, but they have to walk away. K-Knight goes in with the implosion!
And they find another Hades Force back. Diablo goes down, sacrificing himself for the defense, and they're not done. Holy Shield popped in mid, but Falcon Esports surgical. Unrelenting, they're still here for the push.
They might go for a diversion play right after this, but JPL wants to go for the kick, forcing Kid X here to walk away. They're gonna get a kill onto Hades. Now working on the turret takedown, they might be able to burst down the inhibitor up top.
Amazing positioning by Kid X and the retreat, the defensive diversion, the DD from Falcon Esports. Shout out to Ruby DD watching from home. Ladies and gentlemen, NIP Flash once more up against a corner. That top lane inhibitor, permanent damage. It's more difficult now for Benny to actually just trade against Vanix, because Vanix is going to keep himself safe. Vanix is never going to show himself.
You know, I was thinking that Falcon Esports might be able, I think they were overcommitting a bit a while ago during the top lane push. If giving an opportunity for NIP Flash to counterattack, considering that they don't have the implosion anymore. But the problem is Falcon Esports, with the lead that they established, even with the aggressive play from JPL, the kid actually connected to Kid X down to the turret. They weren't able to burst down any member of Falcon Esports.
Again, it's the worst possible target for JPL, but you can't blame the Emperor. He was going to kick somebody, and it's just Falcon are so good at these tight formations. They're so good at fighting underneath less than ideal conditions. And that's why Royal Milk, this hero, that's what it does. That's what the CC does. He wants you to fight back against him. That's why he rocks it with a vengeance. And looking at the items, oh no, what is that? About 2,500, 3,000 between Benny and Vanix.
Yeah, no Winter Crown, no Wind of Natures. There's a clear opportunity, window of opportunity for NIP Flash to go for the backline, eventually get the pick off onto Benny. But the problem is he has a Purify that can be crucial if ever JPL decides to go and penetrate the defense, go from the back. And Falcon Esports, again, we have to consider the fact that they have a Luyi. Top lane is open. At any given moment, they can make a huge macro play.
So far, NIP Flash have a grocery list of things to do to come back. They have to control the map, make sure it doesn't turn as red as possible, defend from that backdoor play up top, and they have to check bushes, even on their side of the map, to make sure that Falcon just doesn't come up from out of nowhere. So I guess one way to do that is to make sure where PX7 is, but that makes JPL such a easy target. It's so hard for the front line of NIP Flash.
Okay, they might make a repeat of what happened a while ago. JPL with a conceal. They don't know where TZ is. Here comes JPL though. Double man knock off. Kid X goes in with the implosion.
And they go in. That river brush is going to be a death box. Down goes Hades. Down goes JPL. Royal Milk traded out for 3 for 1 so far. 2 for 3.
And Vanix got demolished in the mid lane. Cortese is left to fend for himself. A full team wipeout for Falcon Esports. No need for the Lord anymore as they siege in onto the top.
So many bodies roll unrevenged as Falcon Esports can smell victory.
The legacy of the Falcons sourced in new heights, sending NIP Flash down to the lower bracket.
It's a sweep. 2-0 for Falcon Esports.
And a decisive one for this team. Man, just looking at what they went through. They won against Aurora, they won against SRG, they won against BTK, and now they won against the Singapore All-Star team, NIP Flash.
Falcon seems to be the kind of team that just once they find their wins, once they get their bearing, they just soar and soar and soar. I'm getting flashbacks to M2 here.